Namaskaram to all viewers of Jyotirmarg. Dear viewers, in our last episode, we discussed the chapter by name Subhadra Haran. Now to continue, Arjun's and Subhadra's marriage took place shortly after they were brought back to Dwaraka. Thereafter, Arjun lived in Dwaraka for the next 1 year, and after that, during the last year of his 12-year-long exile, Arjun travelled to the region known as Pushkar and visited sacred spots and took bath in the holy waters of Pushkar. On completion of 12 years, from Pushkar, Arjun returned to Indraprastha and paid respects to his elder brother, King Yudhishthira, and then met his brothers Bhim, Nakula, and Sahadeva. Thereafter, he worshipped the elders and Brahmins and then met Kunti and Draupadi. Later, Arjun returned with Subhadra, and both Kunti and Draupadi embraced her and showered blessings on her to live long with her husband. Once Arjun and Subhadra were settled in Indraprastha, Krishna and Balarama and a large number of their friends and relatives, and also some important citizens and many great heroes of the Vrishni and Andhakar tribes, came on a visit to Indraprastha, accompanied by a huge army. They carried with them unlimited wealth and gifts like 1,000 chariots, each of which was pulled by 4 young, healthy and fast horses, all decorated with ornaments of gold, 10,000 milking cows with calves which were brought from Mathura, 1,000 milk-white colored female horses bedecked with gold, and 1,000 mules, 1,000 beautiful and well-groomed maids wearing excellent clothes and golden ornaments, 10 full loads of pure sovereign gold, and several other items like soft beds, blankets, and animal hides. Krishna's elder brother Balarama's gift was 1,000 well-trained war elephants, which were in the peak of their youth. Each of these elephants came with its mahout, and they were enormous in size like a small mountain. On receiving news that an unending procession headed by Krishna and Balarama is on its way, all necessary preparations were made in Indraprastha to receive and welcome them. The roads from the city gates to the palace were washed with water, and flowers were laid on those roads, and finally, diluted water of sandalwood paste was sprinkled on those flowers. The winds and the air of Indraprastha were filled with the fragrance of those flowers and sandalwood. As commanded by Yudhishthira, Nakula and Sahadeva waited at the city gates and welcomed Krishna and Balarama and all others who were accompanying them. On reaching the palace, Krishna paid respects to Yudhishthira and Bhim, who were elder to him. Yudhishthira embraced Krishna and welcomed him with love and respect. Similarly, Balarama and all others who had arrived from Dwaraka were individually welcomed by the Pandavas. Later on, all those gifts were handed over to Arjun and Subhadra, who received them happily, and thereafter all of them lived in Indraprastha for several days, enjoying the hospitality of the Pandavas. Later, at an appropriate time, all of them except Krishna returned to Dwaraka. While taking leave, Yudhishthira gifted each of them with very rare and precious gems and jewels. Krishna stayed in Indraprastha, spending his days with his dear friend and now brother-in-law Arjun. Time and again, they both dwelled the forests on the banks of Yamuna river. Like that, a year went by, and then Subhadra gave birth to a very strong and radiant son who was long-armed, with broad chest and eyes as big as that of a bull. This son of Arjun and Subhadra was Abhimanyu, a name that was destined to bring terror and fear in the hearts of his enemies. And his enemies would be those invincible grades of Kurukshetra war, which was to take place even though Abhimanyu would be only a child of 16 years at that time. Right from his birth, he was the darling of all Pandavas, and especially of Krishna. It was Krishna himself who performed all his birth rites. The progress of Abhimanyu in the study of Vedas and scriptures, and also in Dhanurveda, the art of weaponry and warfare, was astonishingly fast. Arjun himself taught Dhanurveda to his son Abhimanyu. Dear viewers, The original text of Mahabharata contains long descriptions of Abhimanyu and his childhood and how Arjun was teaching him and how Krishna was so fond of him and taking care of him at all times. Meanwhile, Draupadi gave birth to 5 sons from her 5 husbands. Yudhishthira's son was Pradivindhya, Sudasoma was born to Bhima, and Shrutakarma was Arjun's son. Then Draupadi gave birth to Shataniga from Nakula and Shrutasena from Sahadeva. They all learned Dhanurveda from Arjun and they were also very fond of each other. During this period, the name and fame of Yudhishthira and Indraprastha had been spread all over Aryavarta. Their citizens loved and adored Yudhishthira because they could approach him any time and he always took care of all their requirements. And above all, Yudhishthira's tone was always soft and gentle, and his words were always sweet and pleasing. Many kingdoms were added to Indraprastha during this time, and Yudhishthira took care of those kings and their kingdoms also as if they all were his own. Then one day, Arjun told Krishna that the climate is getting hot and suggested that they will go on a trip to the banks of Yamuna river. Krishna readily agreed, and then, after getting permission from Yudhishthira, with a large number of their friends and relatives, which included several men and women, they set off to the place where they had already constructed a palace and several mansions and apartments for their stay during such pleasure trips. There was dance, music, and excellent food, and they all enjoyed both on land and in water and spent their time joyfully. After a while, Krishna and Arjun went on a walk through the banks of Yamuna river. They came to a landscaped spot with chairs and other places to sit and relax. Comfortably seated in that garden, they talked about interesting incidents and experiences of the past. At that time, a Brahmin of outstanding physical attributes approached them. He was very tall and well built. His complexion was like that of melted gold. He had locks of hair and copper-colored beard and was radiant and blazing like noontime sun. Seeing that Brahmin of distinguished and outstanding looks and appearance, Krishna and Arjun respectfully got up from their seats. Then that stranger spoke like this: "I know who you are. You are none other than Vasudeva Krishna of the Vrishni race and Panduputra Arjun. You both are eternal souls, taken birth on this earth, and you are invincible and undefeatable heroes of this world. You are standing in the backdrop of this enormous-sized conglomerate of a forest by name Khandava. Now about me. I am a voracious eater, and to satisfy my appetite, I need unusually large quantities of food. O Krishna, O Partha, I solicit you to provide me with food as per my liking and to my entire satisfaction." Thereupon, Krishna and Arjun asked him to tell them what kind of food is to be served to satisfy him. After knowing that, they said they will try to gratify his hunger. Thereupon, he replied like this: "O Krishna and Partha, I am Agni, and in my endless flames, I wish to consume this Khandava forest in all its totality along with all its inhabitants. This forest is now the dwelling place of many unholy, unhealthy, and destructive elements and forces which are harmful to this entire world. The great serpent Takshaka also has an abode in this forest. Takshaka is a close friend of Indra, and so whenever I try to burn this forest, Indra will stop me with his torrential rains and thunder showers in order to protect his friend Takshaka. Both of you are invincible. If you stand guard and protect me, Indra will not be able to stop me anymore. Once I consume this forest to my entire satisfaction, a new forest of an auspicious nature will emerge here with all the flora and fauna which were destroyed in my flames. And this new forest will be a blessing to this world with all its auspiciousness and positivity." On listening to the words of Agni, Krishna and Arjun thought about it and then agreed to help Agni to devour that forest which was so huge in area like an ocean. But Arjun told Agni that he doesn't have a bow which can endure his might and speed, and also a quiver which has the capacity to hold his divine weapons and also hold a large quantity of arrows. Arjun said that he also lacked a chariot with such horses which will take him from place to place with the speed of mind and also strong enough to hold his celestial weapons of supernatural power and strength. Arjun told Agni that Krishna also does not have a weapon which will match his energy and stature. Dear viewers, here ends this episode of our rendering of Rishi Vedvyasa's timeless epic Mahabharata. Harihi Om.